Running a business shouldn't feel like surviving a software group project. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in, an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together, from sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, all in one powerful platform. No messy integrations, no bouncing between tabs, and best of all, no spreadsheets. Stop managing software and start managing your business with one unified system. Try for free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
911, what's the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Talk to Living podcast. I'm your host, Ashlie Walton, joined by Sergeant Walton. Clint, how are you?
I'm good.
You know, I want to talk about how one of the worst things that we can ever do is tell somebody that they need to focus on the positive, especially when they come to you and they're trying to share their angst or something that is not going the way that they hope that it would in that moment in their life. And I also want to talk about when gratitude becomes a weapon against already burnt out first responders.
Yeah, I think when we're always saying, hey, just think positive, and every situation varies, every situation differs in that instance, but you know, you can always think positive, of course, but in some instances, it's hard to be positive when you're really going through the ringer on it. And I think it also comes down to is, you know, like you were saying in that realm of gratitude, it's if you're in that instance of feeling burnt out and you're tired and you know, you have someone expressing that gratitude, oh, I appreciate your service, thank you so much. And you can always be respectful and say thank you, but it doesn't mean you have to like hold on to that all the time.
Yeah. And you know, for me, when I'm observing people in conversation, a lot of the times I enjoy just observing people, right? Human behavior is kind of one of my fascinations in life. And so a lot of the times I'll see somebody expressing something of dissatisfaction in their life to somebody else. And obviously it's them reaching out their hand, hoping that somebody else will grab it. And sometimes I see people say something like, well, you should be grateful, right? They're expressing something that happened. And instead of giving advice or asking what that person needs, they come back with this, you should be grateful. And I think it's important to understand what happens when a genuinely healthy concept gets weaponized against people who are already running on empty.
Yeah, I think it's something that when you have someone just saying, oh, well, you should be grateful, because we always have that self-comparison of, well, it could be worse. Instead of looking at, well, it doesn't matter if it's worse or my situation's worse than yours or anything like that. It could be worse or it could be better, of course. But that's not why they're reaching out. And I think it's finding, okay, so what's going on?
Yeah, and gratitude is real. It matters. But when it's used to basically silence the struggle or dismiss the burnout or even make somebody feel guilty for feeling depleted, then it stops being a tool for healing and it starts to become a barrier to it instead.
Yeah, I think when we just express that gratitude all the time and it's being, well, you should feel that happiness, you should be happy, and it's not really looking at, okay, well, why are we feeling in this instance today? And it's when someone reaches out, it takes a lot for someone to reach out to a loved one, to a friend, to a partner, whoever it may be, to get to that point to want to reach out and say, hey, things aren't going good right now. And if you just try killing them with positivity in those instances, I think it can do more harm than good.
Yeah, and you know, there's a psychological concept we need to talk about. It's called toxic positivity, and it happens when positive thinking is applied in ways that deny or minimize or even invalidate genuine emotional experiences. And so for first responders, this often shows up as cultural and even social pressure to be able to focus on what's good about the job instead. And I think that in ways, this tries to make an honest acknowledgement and a struggle feel like you're ungrateful instead of you actually being able to experience the thing that you're experiencing at that time.
Yeah, when then you start feeling less than once again. And that's where I think we do more harm than good in those instances. And that's where, like, one thing for my team specifically, I can tell when one of my guys is feeling kind of down and out, and I'm not going in, well, you should be happy that you're on a detail, that you're coming out to work every day and we get to go out and have fun. No, it's not that. I'm like, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? And it's figuring out, because sometimes we think of, okay, it could be something work related. It could be something home related. And one thing, like, I really hold true to myself is my guys can come to me on anything and everything. I don't care if it's for work. I don't care if it's for home. They can talk to me. And I recognize that in those instances, those are the days where I'm like, hey, let's go ride out together and let's go get some work done, and just sitting there listening. And if they're not asking for help in this instance, don't offer help. It's being there, just being there and listening.
Yeah, and there are ways for us to see if gratitude has become a weapon with us in particular. And I think one of them is you might feel guilty for struggling when others have it worse.
And that's where I think if we're always having that comparison of, well, I could be living without food, without water, and I could be living in a tent on the side of the road. And you start having that comparison to anybody else's situation, it doesn't hold true to what you're actually going through and what you're experiencing. Doesn't mean one's worse or one's better. It's meaning is right now, this instance is not good. It's okay to be there, but let's see how we can come out of it.
Yeah, and something else that I see, especially in these like macho men prototypes, is like using gratitude as a reason to avoid processing legitimate pain.
And I think that's one of those instances is you don't know how to control that. You can't have that middle ground. It's you're all or nothing. And I think that is a struggle that we deal with, not only from the military, from first responders, is, we have this perception that we need to build up and who we are and what we stand for, instead of just being true to our own natures. And it's okay to experience this stuff.
If we're analyzing our environment a little bit, I think there are signs that gratitude is being used against you. And I think one of them is that you feel guilty every time that you try to name what's hard, because somebody else always reminds you what you should be thankful for instead.
I can think of so many people who said, well, you can't think of what that bad experience is. Just think of, okay, you should be thankful you're happy, you're healthy, that you have a lovely family, and you see you have a house, you have food. Like, They try filling in all the fill in the blanks here, but that's not really addressing of what you're internally going through in those instances. And they might not know, or they may know, but I think we're doing each other a disservice when we're bringing forward that false gratitude or that false positivity when you don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah, and this isn't to dismiss the importance of gratitude. There's a difference between, an example is me every single night when I pray, I will always introduce my prayer with things that I am grateful for very specifically from that day. Even minute things, like I am so thankful that I have the ability to physically process as much water as I drink every day, because there are people who literally cannot. And so there's a difference between having things in your life that you're showcasing gratitude towards versus the way that some people will tell you that you shouldn't, they'll dismiss whatever the angst is or the problem, saying that you should be grateful instead of feeling those very valid feelings.
Yeah, and I think that's where when we express our own gratitude, we express that, and you're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times. I don't care who you are in this life, you will experience those highs and lows. And it's being able to recognize it, being able to address it, and finding those people and those outlets that support you and not just give you a Band-Aid onto an arterial bleed.
Yeah, and there are ways to be able to reclaim that kind of gratitude without losing it without using it against yourself. And I think the first is to just separate the gratitude from the emotional suppression. So you could be thankful and still name what is hard at the same time, and they are not opposites.
Yeah, when you recognize that, and it's like, this just came to my mind, is oh, well, I'm not feeling great. I'm down and out and I don't have any gratitude. But when you really start looking at it and you find that gratitude of, oh, well, actually today was a good day and I'm not feeling great about it. And that's okay. It's having gratitude for anything and everything, because ultimately it's being able to identify it for yourself and not trying to force it.
And I think too that we need to allow both realities to exist at the same time. So the job can be meaningful and exhausting without one of them canceling out the other one. Both things can still be true.
Yeah, when we have that understanding, when we have that acceptance of today was a shit day and today was a great day, it's being able to have that understanding and be okay with that.
And we can't wrap up this episode without addressing the truths about the times that there are some people who we have had to omit from our lives completely because they are just like sourpusses, right? That's just their mentality. They don't have anything going on for themselves. You try to support them and be there for them. And you realize that there are certain people that they literally want to, they say misery loves company, that it is absolutely true. And it works like a magnet and it metastasizes. And so I can think of so many people at the top of the lists that we have had to remove from our lives because there are just people like that. And they can become incredibly toxic to someone, Clint, like you and I, who we don't live our life that way.
Yeah. When you identify those people and you recognize the problems that kind of coincide, it's not always easy to cut off those relationships, but it's something that you recognize and you adapt to it.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below. And as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.